I'm trying to keep these short, folks, but man, there's just so much here, and there's so much I feel like I'm missing, but we keep coming through. So, again, if I miss something or there's something that just sparks a question, and I may misstate something and not catch it, send in questions, send in thoughts. Would appreciate, because I really want to try to communicate what the heart of the text is saying. Genesis 7 is the chapter I encourage you I'm gonna talk about for this morning. Noah, he enters the ark and the flood comes is the basic kind of narrative pieces. But the emphasis here is on Noah's obedience. He did everything. Again, the logistics can go through your mind. How did he collect the animals? When did he get them? Did he build the ark and then collect the food? And just, there's no mention of that. It's just God is sending a judgment. And Noah's response was, I'm going to faithfully follow what God is leading me to do. But remember, God wasn't wanting to destroy. He was regretting its necessity. And there's these mention of clean and unclean animals. Again, remember, this was written long after Noah, in a time where Leviticus had also, or was also, being presented to the nation and the covenant system. And so here's kind of going back into Genesis. There's this category of clean and unclean, and I'm going to wait till Leviticus to get into that. Verse 17 of chapter 7. Notice that it says the water increased. It's interesting, that same word in Hebrew is the word for the mandate to humanity from God to multiply, be fruitful and multiply, be fruitful and increase, just to use equivalent English words. So as humanity was meant to multiply, now because of humanity's sin, the water was needing to multiply to undo humanity's effect on creation. In a sense, deep waters in ancient cultures were feared. That was the realm, again, if you remember my comments in earlier chapters in Genesis, of chaos, where evil was. There was monsters out there, to kind of use some other pictures. And in other ancient mythologies, the god was always wrestling with the chaos, with the sea, and fighting the sea. Genesis, very different. God's in complete control and command. There's no conflict, there's no battle. And here God uses the sea, uses the deep waters to cleanse away humanity's sin. So one question, was this a global flood? It's something that gets asked. I'll just go, the text doesn't state this. The text doesn't care. The text simply says the flood was sufficient to wipe out all the ground and air life that was not on the ark. Sounds global, but here's the thing. We don't have to concern ourselves with that question from the text. God, finally, he's a God of mercy and grace, even though he is also sovereign and king and responsible for justice. So our picture of God, we need to be careful we don't go into the God is vengeful and wrathful and hateful. God is reluctant to bring condemnation because, as we'll read in the New Testament, he desires all people to be saved. God brings condemnation as a last resort. And that's the picture we see as well in the overall story of Noah and the flood. The question for today. The New Testament uses the flood actually also as an example of a time when people were going about daily life not expecting a judgment from God, but a king. Noah was ready by being faithful to God's command. And so our command today from Jesus, our King, is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. We are called to love one another out of love for God. That's how we know we are ready, if, when Jesus returns and brings God's judgment in full. Today, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you today. And would you know his peace? God bless.